Hello and welcome everybody to Game 2 of Dongraegu versus Rain. Spawning here in the left position as the blue Terran, we have Fnatic MSI's Rain. Spawning here in the right position as the red Zerg, we have MVP's Dongraegu. Now this is going to be, as I said, Game 2 of a best of 3. Dongraegu able to take Game 1 just through, I feel like it all came down to just one big push. Rain really went for one big push on 2 base, and Dongraegu was just able to destroy one push, able to get a whole lot of Marines trapped against a wall with some Banelings, and that was pretty much the end of that push, and just out-expanded Rain like crazy and just had him out-macroed at every count. So I just feel like Dongraegu was just able to take that win so decisively. We're going to see here if Fnatic MSI's Rain can be able to take this game here in Game 2, or whether Dongraegu will be winning this semifinals match. If you didn't catch Game 1, this is going to be a best of 3 that was already played previously in the Dreamhack Valencia Invitational that was played last weekend. This is the semifinals match, meaning that it was part of the round of 4. So the winner of this tournament is going to be going to the grand final of the Dreamhack Valencia Invitational. So looks like if we jump into this game right now, we can see that a fast hatchery has gone down, followed by a quick gas and spawning pool for DRG. Looks like we are going to be seeing some early Zergling speed here from DRG. Definitely something that's common to do against those Terran players. You want to get up some early lings, be able to scout your opponent's positions, know exactly what is going on. Has he actually scouted his opponent's front yet? He did scout his opponent's front, saw that the barracks has gone down, did not see any add-ons going down yet, and if he did, that would have told him that there is actually a reactor here going down for Fnatic's Rain, as looks like he's going to be swapping that factory as soon as that lands, and we are going to be seeing some Hellion openings here from Fnatic's Rain. In the meantime, we do see another command center going down, actually. This is kind of an interesting little play here from Rain. This is not something I've actually seen a lot previously, but looks like we're going to be getting out these couple quick Hellions as well as this command center here for Rain, so it looks like he's going to be taking a fairly fast expansion here. In the meantime, DRG left pretty much unharassed at this point in time, just able to get up a lot of drones. If we check out that harvester count right now, it is currently 22 to 21 harvesters. We will probably see that shooting up even more soon, as we do have a Ling now moving across the map, and it did manage to scout those Hellions that are now moving across the map here. Wouldn't be surprised to see him start throwing down maybe a Spine Crawler and start getting these Queens in position on the ramp to block the Hellions from getting up that ramp. But did DRG not see those Hellions? His Lings passed right by him. I would be amazed if he didn't actually see those Hellions pass on the minimap, but oh my god, and I just choked on my own saliva. That is absolutely amazing. Looks like these Queens are now definitely aware of these Hellions, as they are now shooting these bright red flames at them and starting to singe the I was gonna say the hair, but I don't know, the slime on that one Queen? I don't know. It's starting to singe something on that Queen. Anyway, continuing to get up more drones. Roach Warren now up to be able to deal with those Hellions. We now have 7 Roaches on the production tab. Looks like he's going to be able to push those Roaches away just in time. Holy cow, that is a lot of Roaches all popping quite at once, and it looks like they are going to be able to shove those Hellions out of his base. In the meantime, both players continuing to macro up fairly heavily. If we check out that harvester tab right now, we can see that Dongraegu currently a little bit down, actually, because he produced so many Roaches, and it looks like he is actually going to be going for a big pushback here, as he's now moving across the field with some Roaches and some Lings. So we are going to be seeing some counter aggression here from Dongraegu. Roaches moving across the field. These are going to do very, very well against these Hellions. Not going to be able to deal too much. There are a lot of Marines out here, and there is a fast siege tank out here. No siege mode quite up yet for Fnatic's Rain. It is on the production tab. It is on the way. Bunker being constructed right now for Rain. It looks like that bunker is going to be able to finish, and he's going to be able to hack away all 4 of those Marines into that bunker. It looks like he does get most of them in there, but Dongraegu just going to be able to pass that up right now. Tries to get up the ramp, but the supply depot does close on him, and now he's just going to sit here and be harassing this orbital command for just a little while. In the meantime, Dongraegu is going to be taking a 3rd base of his own, continuing to drone up, getting fully saturated here on his natural. Now if we check out that harvester tab, yeah, that's what I wanted to see. On that harvester tab, we can see that 36 harvesters to 28 harvesters, definitely a good place to be in right now. For Dongraegu, he wants to be droning up as much as possible, especially while he's applying this pressure. As long as he's applying this pressure, his opponent cannot be attacking him. especially considering the position he was in, where he knew he was in a good position and his opponent only had Marines in this bunker. Definitely wanted to be droning up very, very hard while he was applying that aggression. Now that he's back, he is now teching back up. We're seeing extractors going down all over the place right now, layer tech coming up. It's exactly what you want to do as a Zerg player. As your layer tech comes up, you definitely want to start taking more gas geysers, as once your layer tech is up, that is when Zerg starts to get very, very gas heavy. Definitely very gas heavy at that point. At that point, you start to see corruptors, or you start to see mutalisks, you start to see hydralisks, other things that can be much heavier, and infestors. Infestors are definitely the biggie on the gas count for those Zerg players. Third expansion just now about to pop for Dongraegu. No third yet for FnaticRain, but he is throwing up that command center, so he is going to be trying to expand, maybe doing a little bit more macro style of a game this time. Not going to be going for quite as big of a push on 2 base this time. That command center tells me that he's probably going to be going for a little bit more macro-oriented style before, maybe even taking a third as he pushes out. Definitely consider that to be a big possibility. Dongraegu continuing to macro like crazy, though. Check that harvester count right now, 57 to 38 harvesters. That is absolutely ridiculous. That is a lot of harvesters there for Dongraegu, considering his food supply is only at 75 right now. Considering his food is at 75 right now, he has got, and 57 of them are harvesters. That means only 30 food is in the army right now. That is a lot of harvesters right now. He is controlling the Xel'Naga Watchtower. That is definitely one thing that allows him to do this. I would also like to see some lings at the front of his base. That would be awesome, so that he can see the second they start to move out. In the meantime, he's also keeping overlords scouted at all these positions, so he can see an expansion coming down here. Any kind of expansions moving out towards this way. And notice exactly where he's placing this overlord right now. This overlord is not here. A lot of lower level players will place their overlords right here. That positioning, while yes, it does tell you the moment your opponent starts building an expansion, you are not going to be able to keep that overlord alive unless you get that overlord speed fairly early on. And your overlord is much more vulnerable, and you don't have that surprise element, as your opponent knows that you know about his expansion, so he might play a little bit differently. Whereas if you have an overlord that's a little bit farther out, you can poke in every now and then, like exactly like DRG just did, or you can move out to like maybe even out here where your overlord is going to be much safer, and you can see these minerals. And if you can see these mineral patches, when there are actually units mining on them, as we can see here, they actually shimmer, and you can see that from a distance, even if you can't see the actual workers mining on them. Now we do have Rain finally starting to move out here. Got a lot of Marines, a lot of siege tanks here, very nicely spread out here. Definitely want to be doing that with those siege tanks against Zerg players. Against Terran players, you definitely tend to want to clump your tanks a little bit more, but against Zerg, you definitely want to spread them out as much as possible, because you want to be able to overcome the large numbers of your opponents, and you want your attacks to be much, much more spread out, so that siege tanks can be killing units like Zerglings as they're killing your other siege tanks. Now Dongraegu continuing to macro up quite a few roaches right now. Spire just spawning here for Dongraegu. We have +1 missile attacks as well as +1 carapace attacks on the way, and 10 mutalisks coming right now for Dongraegu. Holy cow, that is going to be a lot of mutalisks to have to deal with right now for Rain. Rain already getting ready to deal with this, though. He does currently have, looks like he's got a missile turret either side. Check out the positioning of that missile turret. I love the positioning of these missile turrets. Here, it's in his SCV line, but it's a little bit towards the right. Why? Because this is the exposed side to mutalisks. Here, he doesn't need them. Why? Because, well, the mutalisks have to go through this base or this base to get to this base. So, don't waste the 125 minerals getting him here. Instead, he's going to put one here, which is, again, the side that the mutalisks will be harassing from. The mutalisks will be harassing from up top. So he wants to put the missile turret on that side. He wants to use as few resources towards static defenses as possible. He wants to be spreading, he wants to be using his money on mobile army units that can attack his opponent, and not be just spending a lot of resources on getting those turrets up. A lot of roaches right now gathering in the center for DRG. Looks like he is now pumping them out quite a bit. 9 roaches currently out on the field. With these mutalisks, he's being very annoying. He produced 10 mutalisks, and that's it. He's not producing any more mutalisks than that, because why? 10 mutalisks are going to be enough to harass positions, try to control your opponent's movement, and force them into positions that you want them to be in. With these mutalisks, he can attack along this top position while while attacking with a lot of roaches and things at this lower position here. And now we do see a big engagement here coming for Dongraegu, moving in with a lot of roaches, a lot of Marines taking a lot of damage here, stuck in forward positions there, not pulled back as quickly as they could have been there by Rain, and Rain now trying to stop this big roach attack here from DRG looking very, very good. Lots of roaches now moving in. Lots of roaches being dealt damage. Very nicely placed siege tank up here on the ramp, dealing lots of damage to these roaches. And it looks like DRG is going to now be pushed back by all these forces. In the meantime, he has managed to take up this gold expansion. Very, very smart play here from Dongraegu as he pushes out. Definitely wants to be taking more expansions there. Always good RTS play to be able to do that. Always want to be applying aggression and macroing behind it as often as possible. Dongraegu, as we can see now, minerals starting to climb way, way up, and that is, of course, because he has that gold expansion. He's going to be able to start dealing, pumping out a lot of units, especially roaches, which are very, 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 very super mineral heavy. Anytime I go roaches, especially even on like 2 base, if I have 4 gas, roaches will eat up all your minerals, and you will have tons and tons of gas left over. So, getting this mineral base is going to allow him to produce a lot of roaches, and that is exactly what we are seeing here out of DRG in the mid game. More roaches being produced, 11 roaches currently, as well as 36 zerglings. Zerglings definitely a good unit when you're trying to get rid of larvae. You always have to think as a Zerg player that you want your larvae to be refreshing as often as possible, and if you have more than 3 larvae at a hatchery, you are not going to be producing, so you definitely want to be getting them up there as much as possible. Still a siege tank up there on the high ground, managing to take out quite a few infestors before they get any damage dealt. A couple fungus growths there finally going off there by DRG, but definitely losing a lot of infestors in that fray. Not the best position there for DRG. Now looks like all his roaches are going to get cleaned up, but he is preparing for another attack here as more lings and roaches are streaming in right now. Definitely trying to push as hard as he can now that he's on this gold expansion. Lots of lings and roaches now moving in for DRG. Lots of damage being dealt. Rain being caught a little out of position there as the siege tanks were not sieged up there, and it looks like this one siege tank, such a boss siege tank, sitting up on that ramp dealing so much damage, but DRG continues to just push in and deal lots of damage. These roaches are now 2 and 1 in upgrades, and more units are continuing to stream across the map here for DRG. Holy cow, lots of units coming across the map. Infestors coming down, not actually being that effective right now. He's actually losing a lot of infestors kind of carelessly, and they're not getting off really that many spells. So, not to mention this third base here. I'm surprised that DRG hasn't pushed into that base at all by split pushing here and taking this middle position. He's definitely in a good place. Wants to keep his opponent's bases separated as much as possible so he can continue to harass as much as possible. On that units tab, did he lose all those mutalisks? I completely missed him losing a ton of mutalisks. I might have seen the fight there, but maybe I just didn't catch those mutalisks going down. But all the mutalisks are now down. But holy cow, check out that production tab right now. 10 broodlords currently on that production tab. Constant pressure being applied with these roaches. Such excellent play here from Dongraegu as he just continues to apply pressure once he's on that gold base. He sat back, macroed up a ton, and then really just pushed with one big push in the mid game as he took his gold expansion. And then once he had this gold expansion secured, continued the relentless pressure, and he's now moving in, dealing lots and lots and lots of damage. Broodlord's now moving in. He's now teched to that hive tech drop going on in this 4th expansion here, but it is not going to matter too much as Rain now takes the GG and is well, he's done. He's done. That's it, huh? DRG took 2 games in a row. That means he has taken this best of 3, and he is moving on to the grand finals, or rather, he did move on to the grand finals, depending on how you want to look at it. So, this is going to be it for me, guys, today. I am actually casting another live tournament for the StarCraft 2 Amateur Team League. Check out the link below. Come check me live tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and thank you guys so much for watching. I am now going to go save my voice and make some tea so I can cast some games. Thanks for watching, guys. Glitch out.